Sean here. This is my first of the longer video style for Instagram. I didn't know that there was actually a channel feature. I'm not very well trained in the social media arts. So I'm just practicing with this and let me know if you like this, if you want longer content, shorter, what you're looking for, what you'd hope to get out of it, or anything you'd like to hear. So the purpose of this video is to illustrate a common confusion that I encounter. So there's a certain path of spirituality. It's not one particular group per se. I mean, this is pervasive everywhere, whether we're talking Eckhart Tolle and just like being present and accepting the now, or whether we're talking about Thich Nhat Hanh style Zen, Vipassana, deep looking, or we're talking about emotional integration as a therapy with the Mahajriya, or the letting go technique of devotional non-duality by David R. Hawkins. I mean, there's infinite names for this universal approach. And the idea is basically like, as you let go of the emotions you have, as you observe the inner mechanisms that are pushing us to do this or that, to feel this way or another way, that eventually you reach a point where you have no beliefs. And first of all, the theory is that you're going to reach this area where there's no beliefs and you're just going to go with the flow. You accept everything as it is, and you just fit perfectly in flow with the situation you're in, and ta-da, there you go. Now, first let me talk real quick about the idea of flow. And I don't know if I'm butchering this name. If I am, I apologize. But the work of Mihai Csikszentmihalyi on the science of flow, the idea of flow is that, runners, when they can focus, like, okay, just gotta get to this tree, now to this tree, now over this hill. When they have a lot of focus, and when they have a target that they can flow down, that they can work on, they can just zero in, and they get into what's called the zone. Basically, you have exercise-induced transient hypofrontality, which basically means through exercise, through a repetitive motion that doesn't require a lot of cognitive ability, the prefrontal cortex temporarily deactivates, so that deeper regions of the brain, usually more associated with subconscious or automatic mechanisms, basically like alpha or even theta level brainwaves, kick in, and you start to experience like it richer and more deeply, because it's not filtered by the decision-making processes of the prefrontal cortex. Well, so this only really works if you have a repetitive task that is well trained. So you're not just going to go with the flow and automatically just fit into situations unless you've trained for that. So for example, special forces, they have particular tactics that are well rehearsed. They know exactly how to fire a gun, how to aim, how to take cover, how to do this and how to do that. So they can enter into flow because they have this highly focused, highly intense situation where there's immediate feedback, and they have second to second goals, and this allows them to zero in with precision on on the task at hand. And Anders Ericsson, the preeminent researcher in peak performance, would say that this would be deliberate practice, or purposeful practice, which is a step below that, which is the best way to train, essentially, and to develop mastery. Now, beyond that, why am I having this discussion? Well, the idea that people have that they're just going to fit in with things, it's not accurate. Like, in martial arts, unless you've already trained all of these situations, unless you've already done tons of techniques with a wide variety of body types and speeds and aggression and movement, only then does your body have the training to automatically flow with the situation. Otherwise, you're just gonna get your ass kicked. So unless you have like super hard grounding in basics and being able to do it under stress, and it's effortless for you, then flow will appear. But if it's not, it's not going to appear. So this idea that you're just going to manifest and flow with the situation if you're at an advanced level is kind of silly. Now, a couple of years ago, I interviewed a very advanced spiritual master. And when I say spiritual master, I don't mean someone in a hierarchy that's like greater than us or somehow chosen or better. It's somebody who focused on personal development and spiritual growth instead of like becoming a master blacksmith or a master carpenter or master electrician or getting their master's degree. It's somebody who focused on this area of personal development. And as a sidebar comment, he talked about his beliefs. Now, what's a belief? Well, let's just say a belief is an idea that's repeated enough that you can start to give some type of credence. It's a thought, it's a conception. And usually, like you're presenting a case to court, there's pieces of evidence that support that. So, for example, if you think you can't communicate, you might say, all right, I can't communicate because when I was with my partner, I would get upset and either lash out or shut down to avoid fighting, so I'm not a good communicator. Or, when I tried to communicate with my uncle about politics at Christmas dinner, I couldn't because I couldn't articulate it. When the fact is, this person probably just never built a solid conceptualization of that particular issue, so it won't stand up to any scrutiny. But just using a few examples like this, a person can come to believe that they can't communicate well. Well, we can easily take that apart, but that's not the goal of this. Now, this spiritual master that I talked about, that I interviewed, now over the years he's reached over 1 million people through his students and the people he's worked with, and videos, and so he's reached over 1 million people. So there's a lot of people getting benefit. And as a sidebar comment, he talked about his beliefs. Now, a belief, for him, he has this very rich experience of divine essence in himself and all things. He pays attention to someone, he feels that divine essence in them. So, because of this continuous experience that he has, and sometimes it's richer and sometimes it's a little more simple, and other times it's like very dynamic and like powerful. And because of all these experiences, that acts as evidence, as references to create the belief of, there's unity and I feel this greatness within me and I am great and you're also great. So let's be kind of sober about this. No matter how far up the ladder you progress, you're still in nature. And you're only going to be able to flow into situations when you fulfill the right conditions, as in you don't need to work on the motor skills, trying to learn to do something right, because you're not going to be in flow there. There's no friggin' way. And otherwise, you're not going to be able to just accept everything as it is infinitely. Like, you can let go of anything, absolutely anything, and you could be in a much freer state. But we're still incarnate. And this is why there's people at the very top of, development. And some are like more motherly type and loving and protecting and nurturing. And some are very like powerful and disciplined. And others are more like peace. And some are like more into the emptiness aspect. And some are more into stillness. And some are into wisdom. And they all develop along the spectrum. And it's different for all of them because they are different expressions of individuality. Basically, this great oneness somehow is expressed uniquely through their own conditioning and culture and experiences. And this kind of shapes how they express it and master it. So no matter how far you go in your evolution, you're not going to stop having beliefs or stop, having some type of filter. Well, I don't want to say filter. You're not going to stop having some type of imprint on what you are, because there's still mechanically something local, something individual, something that exists. After that, well, that's beyond my capability to speak. So if you like this content, let me know, and maybe there'll be more. All right, rock on.